All right, so let's talk about what will make digital from physical transactions happen across town. Like, what is going to be one of the defining factors that's going to make that happen? Because right here in Thailand, like a lot of things are done on the physical level. So physical money, physical like with the paper, when like the coins are made out of like metals and shit. So like the coins and the physical money, or the money, which is physical paper and physical coins. Like, what's going to make it what do you think is going to be like one of the like key contributing factors to making things go digital here in Pattaya?
That's a really interesting topic. I think one of the big factors in transitioning from physical to digital transactions in a place like Pattaya is definitely convenience. When people realize that digital transactions are faster and more secure, they'll start leaning into it. Also, having more businesses accepting digital payments and maybe even offering incentives can really speed up that adoption. Plus, if tourists are using digital payments more often, locals might follow suit to keep up with the trend.
Yeah, that sounds really I think you're spot on with that one. The ease. I don't think people realize how easy it is to let's see. All right, so we're talking about a 100 baht, saying if we have a 100 baht transaction and then somebody does from one hand to the other, boom, and then digitally it's like you can scan or send or whatever. Do you think that people will eventually think that scanning is easier than handing something over like physically with the hand? Do you think that like scanning is easier than giving something like from one hand to the other hand?
I think so. Once people get used to it, scanning can definitely feel easier. It's super quick and it eliminates the need to carry around cash or deal with making change, which can be a hassle. Plus, digital payments often come with extra perks like tracking your spending or earning rewards. So over time, I think a lot of people will find scanning way more convenient than handling physical cash.
It's funny you say that because I was going to hop into that. I was going to our next topic as far as the transactions and having to record them. So now if all the transactions are digital, they can be recorded on the blockchain. You don't have to write everything down with a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, however you do it. And then it's just another way of making things easier. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. One of the coolest things about digital transactions, especially when they're recorded on the blockchain, is that you have this transparent and immutable record of every transaction. It really cuts down on the need for manual record keeping and reduces the risk of human error or even fraud. Everything is time-stamped and easily traceable, which makes it a lot simpler for businesses to manage their finances. And on top of that, it can really help build trust because everything is so open and verifiable.
Man, elaborate more on the open part. How like the building the trust open, you can go verify transactions for yourself, and the records aren't in like some hidden database or like a cabinet in the in like a basement somewhere collecting dust. Can you elaborate on that aspect?
Yeah, definitely. So with blockchain, the transparency aspect is really key. Every transaction that happens is recorded on a public ledger, and that ledger is accessible to anyone who wants to check it out. So instead of having records tucked away in some filing cabinet that no one ever sees, everything is out in the open. This kind of openness can really build trust because anyone can verify transactions for themselves. It's a lot harder for any funny business to go on when everything is so easily checked and verified by anyone at any time.
Speaking of funny business, it's funny you say that because foreigners and people that are just generally not from Thailand, they get the funny business aspect, that happens when they try to buy property here or just big purchases. So if a foreigner, a person, they come in here, they try to buy something from 7-Eleven, it's not that big of a deal. But now you try to buy something from a real estate agent, there's a whole nother process behind that. So just the ease of doing everything. You think man, all right, I'm gonna stop talking. Let me know what you think, just based on the few things I said just now.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Smaller transactions are usually straightforward, but when it comes to bigger purchases like real estate, there's definitely a lot more red tape and complexity. If more of those processes could be digitized and made transparent, it could definitely help reduce some of that friction and make the whole process smoother and more trustworthy for everyone. It's all about making things easier and more transparent, which can definitely help build that trust, especially for people coming from outside the country.
I think that would be crazy because if they could build that trust layer up that you're referring to, I think it might make it easier for people that aren't from here to buy property. But still, we have to take into account that you might price people out, because if you let the digital nomads and other people come in and you don't have rules and stuff set up, we might just like buy up everything. So I understand why all these rules are in place to like protect certain aspects, but at the end of the day, it's all about making everything easier. So the easier you make things for people with money, you giving them access to the land and just like the infrastructure and the ability to do things in the environment. Man, I just need you to keep elaborating on the aspect of, or just like what's really going to take the physical to digital. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really gonna like make that boom here in Thailand? Because I know it's gonna happen, but we just need to figure out what's gonna make it happen and then be a contributing factor to that.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. It's definitely about finding that balance between making things easier and more accessible while also putting safeguards in place. I think what will really drive the shift from physical to digital in Thailand is a combination of things. One is definitely education and awareness, helping people understand the benefits and how to use these digital tools. Another factor is having the right infrastructure in place, like reliable internet, easy to use apps, and widespread acceptance of digital payments by businesses. And of course, having supportive regulations that protect both locals and foreigners while encouraging innovation will be key. It's definitely a journey, but I think with the right mix of these factors, it can really take off and thrive.
Yeah, I think you now you cooking right now. You're definitely cooking right now. The education factor for sure, the ease factor for sure, the government letting us know what's going on for sure. I think one thing you missed though was intertwining current events or problems with the technology. I don't know, that might tie into education, but there has to be a problem to solve, you know what I'm saying? So the problem is the ease of transactions through the money, or the ease of transactions through value. It's not even really money. I mean, it is money, but the value, I don't know, man. I'm getting sidetracked. But what were you saying? My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries at all. I was just going to say that you're totally spot on about needing to solve a real problem. When people see that digital transactions can solve a real pain point, like making things more efficient or safer or more transparent, that's when the adoption really takes off. So combining education with showing people how it can solve real world issues is definitely the key to making that shift happen.
Facts, because with my NFT project, that's one thing that I struggle with, is like trying to show people why it's important, or show people why it's necessary, or why it's valuable. So just showing people why it's valuable, and then I think that's like the base layer right there, just showing why and then how and so on and so forth. What do you think about that?
I think you've got it figured out. Showing people the why is definitely the foundation. Once they understand the value, whether it's the uniqueness, the security, or the innovation behind your NFT project, that's when they'll be curious about the how. And from there, you can guide them step by step. It's all about making that initial connection and showing them why it matters, and then the rest kind of follows naturally.
You are correct. I can't do anything but agree. I think we've been going back and forth for about 10, 11, 12, who knows, minutes. Let's wrap this up, and then let's get some closing thoughts and come back in a few days and build on what we're talking about.
That sounds like a plan. It's been a really fun chat, and I love how passionate you are about all of this. Just keep focusing on that why and the value you're bringing to people, and everything else will fall into place. I'm excited to see how everything unfolds for you. So until next time, take care. And
Hold on.
No.
Hold on a second. No, that's not the closing statement that I want. I need like a summary of everything we talked about. Like, I thank you for noticing how passionate I am, but I need a the 10-15 minutes we've been talking, I need you to consolidate that in about 2 minutes and give everybody a summary of what we've been talking about as far as like what's going to be the contributing factors from going to physical to digital here in Pontian, Thailand.
Got it. Let me just sum it all up. So we talked about what it would take for Pattaya to shift from physical to digital transactions. We agreed that convenience and ease of use are huge factors, along with educating people on the benefits of going digital. We highlighted the importance of transparency, which can build trust, especially for bigger transactions like property purchases. And we also touched on the role of regulations and current events in driving that change. In the end, it's all about solving
Go ahead.
the real value.
What, my
Sure,
bad, Scott got interrupted. What were you saying?
No worries. Just to wrap it up, we concluded that the key factors for moving from physical to digital transactions in Pattaya include making things more convenient, educating people on the benefits, building trust through transparency, and having supportive regulations in place. All of this combined can really help drive that shift and make digital adoption smooth and beneficial for everyone.
All right, sounds good. Let me go ahead and hang up. I'll call you back in a few hours.
Sounds good. I'll be here whenever you're ready. Enjoy the rest of your time, and we'll chat soon.
All right, thank you. So there we have it again, boy. She be cooking. Boy, she be cooking, man. That shit is crazy.